Hola! It's the only time you're gonna get an hola from me because shout out to my boy Rob, man. My boy put together an absolute fire intro for the show, guys. Welcome. My name is David. Welcome to our trading and fundamental show, where we cover everything technical and fundamental with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, your altcoins. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. I hope you are also excited to be here with me. Um, Man, a little piece of me, just a tiny piece of me that thought we were going to break through that 98.8 level. Now, remember, this is a level we talked about yesterday, 98.8 being a pivotal level. You can see the way price has reacted. This has been just a pivotal level. This is a 2-hour support. Excuse me, the 2-hour resistance on BTC, 98.826. And we attempted a breakout, failed, and it looks like we're printing a red candle. Now, this is on the daily. We zoom out to the 8-hour, see if we can get any confluence there. But overall, it feels like the sentiment. So you have confluence on the 2 and the 8-hour. So overall, it looks like we do have some, we had some follow through, the decent volume. You go back to the daily, we did have a bullish trigger here with a crossover on the MACD. But remember, we talked about this yesterday. A crossover is not enough to signal an entry into a trade. What I do is I wait and I see, okay, where did the crossover happen? Did it happen at a key support or a key resistance level? In this case, if you would have just traded on the signal, you would have lost money, right? Because the signal would have told you to go long, but your support and resistance levels would have told you to hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. It happened at this key resistance level for Bitcoin, but we'll get back to that. I did put a couple trades into our Discord earlier today, and I'm going to go over those. Talk about what I saw on the chart. It was Chainlink and BNB, and whether I still think those setups are relevant, or whether I just completely, one of them was a limit order, the other one was a market order. I'll kind of break that down. We'll take a look at the markets and what's happening. We'll take a look at what the miners are doing. We're also going to take a look at some inflows and outflows, which projects are seeing the most amount of money flowing in and the most amount of money flowing out. Also today, I want to take a look at some unlocks, and we'll look back at some other cryptocurrencies who've had large unlocks and how the prices have reacted, and see whether we can catch a trend and front run something before it happens. And so, yeah, again, my name is David. I'm excited to be here. I'm just going to throw this on there, peep the chat, see how you guys are doing. Triple D, what's up, my friend? Anime lovers, so looking forward to the show. Looking forward to the show too, man. I'm excited for this. I get my alone time, get to hang out with you guys, look at charts, stats, metrics. I'm a numbers guy. I like numbers. I like charts. I like analysis. I like reading. And so that's kind of my forte, which is perfect because, not to say Rob doesn't like that, but he is more of he's a talker. He's a sentiment guy. He brings perspectives that when he says it, you're like, okay, that makes sense. So we make a great duo on the live show, but this is the trading show. So welcome. Also, what's up, D Crypto and Blue Man Music? Daniel Kaufman, my AVAX is down so much. Daniel and Muhammad are like two people who maybe on like another channel, they're like, man, this guy's trolling. I like you guys. You guys are funny, especially Muhammad. Everything's going to zero. All right, let's take a peek at the 2 trades that I put into our Patreon this morning. Now, if you're part of Patreon and you're saying, why are you sharing that? Well, I guess one you can argue, fine, we'll give one. But I'll throw an extra trade in there for you guys, or I'll give you guys an extra post in Patreon to make up for it. But the other one, which was Chainlink at a market order, this one, the entry, what was the entry there? The market order entry on that one, I believe, was $18.08, something like that. And you take a look at where Chainlink is now, $18.13. So let's start with BNB. Now, this order is still open. Now, it's a 10x limit long order on BNB with a fill price of 635.47, take profit at 704.13, and a stop loss at 625.70. Now, what I saw on this chart, so a trip back down to the 3-2 fib level on the daily is not only support, but a retest of the lower trend line in the current bull flag pattern. You take a look, what am I talking about? Let's get rid of our support and resistance lines. And now this is on a high time frame. Okay, now I know yesterday we went through the lower time frames and we saw a lot of these projects on multiple time frames were printing bear flags. Great, right? Well, not great for price, but I mean, here was one example, right? This one kind of ran too hot, but if you take the totality of this, right, it's a bear flag, bam, it kind of broke to the downside, then recovered. And then, I mean, you could really look at anything. But for BNB, what I saw on the daily here is actually the complete opposite, which is a bull flag. So these things have a pretty high probability of breaking to the upside. Now, with a bull flag, what you want to see is a large move to the upside. And then you see a consolidation, essentially channel, right? This could be a pennant, right? Pennant would be something like this, where you see essentially a falling wedge. A flag is more parallel, right? So you get the more parallel lines. Either way, it's the same idea. It's the same idea. Just like falling wedges, falling triangles, those typically break to the upside, right? There's consolidation happening, making lower lows and lower highs, and eventually sellers get exhausted and price pushes up. Now with this one, it's much easier to measure the move just because you take the length of the pull and you just put it where the breakout is, and you're looking at for BNB at least $812. Now, typically, it could get there, but you're going to get some bumps along the way. And so there's two ways to trade this. One way to trade it is to take that entire measured move and have areas of taking profit. So you do this, you say, okay, I believe this is going to break out. My entry is going to be on the lower end of this trend line, which is what I had, which was around $635, $637. I do expect it to stay within this pattern, and at the very least to come back and retest the upper end of the trend line, which would put it right around 662. And if we go back, 625 or 704 was my take profit. Why? Well, let me throw on the support and resistance bands. You guys can take a look. 684 or 704, excuse me. 704 is our 2-hour resistance, which is also the very top of our flag, of our pole. And so a lot of confidence there. And I always like to put my take profit a little bit underneath the exact number, just in case it doesn't quite get there, but it gets to the area. So anything really between 690 and 704, I would be completely happy with. But until we see something structurally change, and, you know, I can actually argue, you take a look here on BNB, and I'll get rid of these lines. You take a look, this low here, we took out, right, on the high. Now, we settled in, and the problem is on the way down, we kind of just, and I bet you if I throw this up, we had this large liquidity grab, and then we just fell right through the equilibrium zone. And funny enough, once we hit this large order block where you see a majority of it was sellers, we actually bounced off that level, although we did wick all the way down to that 523 mark. And so I want to see this $721 flip. If we go down to let's go down the 4-hour. Let's go down the 4-hour and let's zoom out and let's take a peek at what are some key levels, right? What are some key highs you want to take out? So we took out this one. Now we did print 2 lower lows in a row. Now this is on the lower time frame, but you can see here the 637 level, which is where I have my entry. It's a very important level on the shorter time frames, right? You go all the way back. Let me get rid of this indicator so it makes the chart more clear. You go all the way back. We consolidated here for, what is that? The 8th of November to the 17th. So around 9 days, we consolidated at that 652 level. Is that 652? That's 652 level. And then on the way back, we retested twice, once on a wick, once on a close. Retested again, and ultimately we fell through. Now on the way back, we got rejected, consolidated, and that is where we saw our bounce again. Actually 639, I was thrown off by, there we go. 639, that is where that horizontal line is. And so that is right around where I have my entry point for BNB. And again, if we zoom out to the daily, I do expect this pattern to fulfill, and I do expect BNB to push down to that 635 level. Now, of course, crypto moves fast. Anything can happen. The entire sentiment can change. CZ comes out, makes an announcement. Whatever the case may be, it might never come back down and test it. I might never get my order filled, and that's okay. We don't chase trades. We just look for the next best one. But again, do expect a little bit of support or resistance right at this upper trend line, which is 662. Then a break to the upside to our take profit zone at 704. Now, the other trade was a chain link market order. This was a 12x long. My entry point, again, was around $18.03. I'm looking at TP at 1979 and a stop loss at 1754. And if you're copy trading us, you're automatically entered into that trade. So there's nothing you got to worry about doing. Now, what did I see on Chainlink? I saw something on a high time frame that is pretty damn accurate, right? We talked about this MACD crossover, right? Bullish crossover. We have our MACD line, which is the blue line, crossing above our signal line, which is the orange line. But the more important thing, it happened at a key support level, which is right here. This level here, you got confluence on the 2 hour, the 1 day, and the 4 hour. Okay. And that's right around $17.83. Now, I did get it a little bit above because the deviation from this wasn't too far. Right now, if this was somewhere around $18.50, $18.80, I would not have entered the trade. But I still thought there was value there for me to enter into a trade, seeing as we got that bullish crossover on the MACD. Plus, it happened at a key level of support. You take a look at this exact level of support, consolidation. This was back on the 31st of May of last year, right? We have accumulation essentially because price went up at this price range for a matter of about 5-6 days. And then Chainlink skyrocketed, right? From the open, just the first leg up 48%. You take it all the way for the entirety of the move, right? It was a 75% gain. And then what have we been doing here over the last, really since February 7th? So 2 weeks, what have we been doing there? We have been chopping, consolidating sideways at this key level. And you also see on the daily, the bands are getting tight like a tiger, or whatever the saying goes. And so anytime you see these bands get tight, think of it like a slingshot, right? The tighter the bands get, it's like the farther out you pull that slingshot, and the longer it stays there, right, the slower back it goes. And then when it gets released, the move is pretty big. Then you got to figure out, is the move going to be to the upside? Is the move going to be to the downside? What the charts are telling me is the move is going to be to the upside. And again, our take profit was $19.79, which is our 2 hour resistance. Now, this is a pretty small window to trade in. But again, I am not fully convinced that the parabolic, oh my God, we're making 20Xs, and oh my God, this thing ran up 200% overnight. I don't think that phase of the market is here now. I do lean more towards potentially chopping for maybe another month, 45 days, which is great. We're gonna make money trading. You can add to your positions. Gives you time to evaluate your portfolios, whether you want to cut losses, whether you want to add more to your positions. So these times of lull are good. It allows you to reset your emotions, reset your charts, your portfolios, your analysis, your research papers, all of it. Gives you time to kind of regroup, get ready for the next leg up. Now, I'll be fine. If this thing stops at a 1979, I think I did the math, it's like a 70% gain. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. If we break above this $19.79 level, I would like to wait for a retest of that same level, seeing as how important that level has been. As you can see, and I'll drop off the Bollinger Bands. As you can see, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, essentially 5 retests of that $19.79 level, and Chainlink has rallied each and every time outside of once where it completely dropped to the downside. So those are the two trades that I put in this morning. Just kind of wanted to go over them with you. I know a lot of times, and I like to do it myself, is to be really explain in depth why I entered a trade, what I saw on the chart. But sometimes you see an opportunity, you see something happening on the chart, and you just put the trade in and you deal with the analysis later as far as explaining it to the people that are maybe following your trades or looking to you for insight. And so it's kind of what I'm doing here on the show. So if you're in Patreon or you want to join Patreon, the link's in the description. But if you're ever wondering why an in-depth explanation, this is the show you're going to get all that when it comes to trading. All right, take a quick break. Take a look at the chat here. Blue Man Music said, great weekend like the old days. Maybe. What's up, bro? What's up, D Crypto? American Pool Guy said, I know it's not the daily news show right now, but there was a repost you guys put up on X a couple of days ago. Any word on Pi? You know, I got a couple friends that are in Pi, and I know I don't want to I don't want to say their name because maybe they don't want to know they're in Pi. But yeah, he reached out to me. He's like, "Yo, what the hell, man? I waited X amount of time for this, and the thing just completely collapsed." Frankie Finance said, "Casual Thursday." Well, a casual trading show for my home day. And so, yeah, I don't do the whole polo shirt on the trading show days. Also, guys, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, please feel free to be, continue talking in the chat. I will randomly come back to the chat and potentially maybe if you have a question about a project or a chart you'd like to take a look at, you'd like me to take a look at, let me know and I'll randomly come back and we can take a look together. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin miners. Now, I have the Bitcoin miners over the last 1 year. So this is miner to exchange flows. So how much Bitcoin are miners sending to exchanges? Why is this important? We can assume that the only reason a miner would send their Bitcoin to an exchange is they're getting ready to sell it. When you see them pulling off the exchanges, right, and really anything outside of miners too, they're typically hodling, right? They're not looking to sell. It's not really liquid. And so it's pretty thin. And I was trying to figure out how to make this line thicker, but I couldn't do it. It was too late. Anyways, you know what? Can I do this here? No, that's far. Okay. So you see here the thin kind of broken up green line. That is your 50-day EMA on miner outflows. And you can see now, this is good that it's going down. Typically, you look at a chart, you're like, oh, we're trading below the 50 EMA. It's not good. In this case, it's really good. It means the miners aren't selling. So we're not getting selling pressure from miners. I was looking at the Bitcoin ETF flows, actually, and it looks like today's going to end potentially red. Now, we do have BlackRock. We do have BlackRock and Fidelity, the two big ones. There's a few other ones. There's, I think it's BitCo, BTCO, and Valkyrie. Those two are Valkyrie. Valkyrie is Burr. So Fidelity, IBIT, which is BlackRock, BitGo, I think that's BitGo. Oh, Invesco, it says it up here. Duh. Invesco, and then Valkyrie. Those ones we're still waiting on the inflows. And you take a look at BlackRock and Fidelity, those inflows could be big enough to offset the 164 million that we've seen in outflows currently from BTC. If we zoom out and we go to the ETH ETFs, take a look at what the ETH ETF has done. A little better, right? We got a few duds. We saw some outflows from Grayscale, their original product that they converted over to the spot from the trust. Again, no BlackRock, no Fidelity, and no Invesco. So those, and this is a much smaller number to flip green. So we'll see how the numbers come out today for ETH, for Bitcoin. We did share on the live show today that, hey, look, the SEC is, quote, very eager about staking. And I'm telling you guys, if staking is allowed in the ETFs, you will see a massive amount of money flowing into Ethereum. Could it come at the cost of the Bitcoin ETF? Potentially. Could it be fresh capital? Potentially. Could it be selling off other ecosystem projects? That I don't think so. I don't think people are going to go out and sell their SWI and their Solana and their Cardano and AVAX positions to buy the ETH ETFs, because the people that are already in that ecosystem or already in the crypto ecosystem, if they want to stake it, like Rob said, they're just going to stake it, right? It's the institutions, the companies, right? We shared JP Morgan Chase has $1 million of exposure to Bitcoin and ETH ETFs. And 98% of that is in Bitcoin and only 2% of that is in ETH. If staking's here, I see that number shifting to maybe 50-50 or 60-40 Bitcoin to Ethereum. Because if you can earn a dividend, right, and speaking in terms of Wall Street and finance, if you can earn a dividend on top of the fee you're charging and potentially even to get an edge on your competitors to offer a dividend back to the people that are holding your ETF, to me, it's going to be a no-brainer. It's going to be an absolute no-brainer. What does that also mean? That also means less ETH to sell on the open market. You combine that with actual on-chain activity with Ethereum going up, which will cause the token to become deflationary again, you have a setup for a big run-up in the price of Ethereum. This is my personal opinion. Of course, I could be wrong. I don't expect to be wrong, but there you go. All right, let's take a look at the markets here. So BTC again at 98,195. That 98.8 level we spoke about in the very beginning of the show. That's going to be very pivotal. And then you know what? As far as an entry position on BTC, I'm gonna go out to the 4 hour. Okay, where am I looking at potentially long Bitcoin? And we could be setting up for a potential. Yeah, it's not a rounded bottom, but could this maybe be some sort of a messed up fantasy world cup and handle pattern? Maybe, right? Maybe. But you can see here, you could have just forecasted this thing, right? Look, February 7th, rejected, and Bitcoin retraced 3%, right? This was back on February 11th, rejected, Bitcoin retraced 3.5%. This was back on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Hey, babe, I was going to get you a nice Valentine's Day present, but Bitcoin went down 4.6%. So can we expect more of the same? I don't think we come back all the way down to 93.3. You can see here, and again, you look at just candles, right? You just look at just look at these two candles. What does that tell you the traders were thinking and doing in those 8 hours? The sellers like, screw this, we're pushing this price down. And the buyers came in and said, not today. Literally took back everything we lost in a single candle. Plus, actually, we closed above the previous candle's open. So we've essentially engulfed, I can argue, 3 patterns prior to this large candle to the upside. And then Bitcoin started grinding back up. And again, it rejected. And we could also be seeing a little bit of a bull flag playing out here. And for the bull flags, the first level I like to look at, I'll take this move here. First level I like to look at is the 382 level, right? As an area for the price to come back and retest, which is right here. That's your 97,564. Now, if we drop below that, 50, the 50 level is really it. If you go below 50, this pattern is completely invalidated, okay? You go below 50, this pattern is completely invalidated, and that will put it right around 97,195. And so is it worth it? If you like placing limit orders and you're like, look, I want to set it and forget it, not worry about it. I'd have one at 97,564 with a stop loss at 97,365. And I'd have another one at 97,195 unless you do lower leverage and you have your liquidation points somewhere underneath 97, essentially 97.2. Could we come back and retest the 618 level on 96.8? Sure. Do I see it happening at this current moment? I don't. So that was BTC. ETH 27.28. Pretty flat on the 24-hour, on the 7-day, but still sitting at 328 billion. XRP was having a nice rally. I think it was sitting at like $2.75. It is currently down, but to be fair, really everything is down outside of like Story Protocol is still up 140%. Now, this is a project that just launched their token. They're essentially a layer 1 for IP. Okay, so IP rights. And again, share this on the show today. Share this on the show on Tuesday. When I shared it on Tuesday, it was like a 2.6 million market cap. So if you got in, congrats, you're almost at a 2x. But this Lyra is a AI agent on Virtual's protocol that was created by the Story team in conjunction with another big player in the space. But again, if this is a project you've been eyeing, I still think this thing is going to come down. I don't like, I have a saying, it's pretty simple. You don't jump on a train that's going 100 miles an hour, right? You're going to wait for it to get to its next stop. Then you're going to hop on the train and it's going to go back again. So same idea here, right? The train is going 100 miles an hour. It's going to come to a stop. Some argue, hey, it ran up to $6, came all the way back down to $4.80. Is this a stop? I don't know. It's a brand new token, so there's not a lot of numbers on it, right? There's not a lot of data you can look at. You can take a look at it. It came out at $1, ran up to $6. What kind of unlocks are we talking about? How much does the team hold? All that stuff. So something I would stay away from. I don't even think I know Coinbase listed it, which, by the way, what is Coinbase doing? What is Coinbase doing? They listed the Venice token in a day, literally a day after it came out. They listed this token literally a day after it came out. But a project like Virtual's Protocol that literally gassed the entire base ecosystem when the AI boom was happening hasn't gotten a listing yet. It's very strange to me. Very strange. Nothing against the Virtual team. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. Maybe Coinbase wants something that Virtuals is not willing to give them, money. But at the end of the day, I mean, just like when you think about Caspa, how has Binance or Coinbase not listed Caspa? That thing was doing like 200, I think it was, I'm probably off here, but like, wasn't it doing like 100 bill in volume? Or maybe it was 10 or 20 billion in volume. That's a lot of volume, right? It's a lot of fees you get to make as an exchange. But what they want is they want you to give them the tokens for liquidity and they want you to pay them for a listing fee. Some projects, and I don't blame them, are like, nah, we're good. But then again, you see slower rate of adoption, slower growth. It had a massive move. You know, look at Caspa. Let's take a peek at Caspa. For Caspa, you had a huge move from like a penny, 2 cents, all the way down to, or all the way up to 20 cents. And then it just came down, right? Sitting at 10 cents now. So let's go out to the daily. Look, Caspa. Now, the Caspa chart, okay, and okay. I want people to understand something. Especially traders. And I see this stuff all the time when Magic comes on the show and Forrest comes on the show and they tell you what they're seeing on the chart. And if it's not something people like to hear, they're like, oh, he's a bear. He doesn't. No, this chart is saying we got more downside, right? I mean, what does this daily chart tell you? If you were to objectively look at this chart, you have a large move to the downside and an uptrending channel. This is called a bear flag, my friends. So could this thing, could this not play out? Sure. But it's likely to play out. But guess what? If you're a believer in the project and you love Caspa, you have nothing to worry about. Plus, your next massive support level is 2 cents away. So not much pain. But anyways, the move I was talking about here was, this is right here, 1.3 cents. This is back on May 26th of 2023. Caspa really just started grinding up and up and up. And I'll give you an example, right? I will give you an example of a pattern not really playing out, okay? So this pattern here early was a head and shoulders pattern, okay? Now, to be fair, it did break to the downside. Let's take a look at what that move should have been if it went with a measured move. That should have been a move down to around 2.195 cents, but we found our support at 3.271 cents. So just because it's a bearish pattern on a chart, it could play out, but it could also not make that measured move either. And so you take a look at that. And again, going back to this bear flag here, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Maybe it does happen. Maybe it doesn't go down. Maybe this was the breakdown right here from 10.89 down to 9.69 cents. Maybe that was the breakdown from the bear flag pattern. I think it still has more downside to go. But guess what? I'll be more than happy to buy more Caspa if it gets back down to that 8 cent level. So just kind of wanted to share that. And then just want to go back to the top gainers here. Barachain, another newer project. They had their TGE, I believe, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Man, Sonic has been on fire. On fire. Where are you, Sonic? You know what? Actually, we're looking at Phantom because we didn't have enough. Oh, look at this setup right here. 85.9, 86.2, close enough. You guys seeing what I'm seeing here? Are you seeing what I am seeing here? Bloop. It's a beautiful cup and handle pattern. I mean, almost to the T. Now we do have to fill out our handle part, right? It's going to look something like, this, right? Just trending down in a channel, depending on where it goes. Now you can go back and throw on some fibs and say, yeah, you know what? In fact, let's throw on our fibs here. So your first level you're looking at a potential breakout is 77.5 cents. I think the more likely one is your 382 level at 70 cents flat. And so this is another chart I'll be keeping my eye on to long at this 382 level, but I'm also going to be keeping an eye on what does this do at 77.5 cents. What does the market look like? What's the volume look like? What are the flows looking like? What's happening on the ecosystem? But Phantom has been absolutely exploding. Sonic has been absolutely exploding. And the key part here, and I mean, the 85.3 cent level was massive resistance. I mean, just go to a higher time frame and zoom out. You don't even need to be a freaking chart expert. Zoom out and say, okay, where's an area where this thing has touched multiple times? And this is the area, 85.66 cents. This is going all the way back to the 20th of May of last year. We broke above, retested, tried to break out, but it ultimately failed, came back and retest, failed that again. On the way up from a low of around 53 cents to our high of $1.42, we saw a rejection and then we blew right through it, never came back to retest, although we did get close on this candle here on the 25th of November of last year. And then on the way down, fell right through, came back, retest, got rejected twice, now 3 times. Got rejected. And I expect this thing to break out, but first, potentially a cup and handle pattern for Phantom here. And the MACD is looking bullish. But one thing to note as well that's working in our favor is this RSI is currently at overbought territory. So it's over 70. So we do expect a reversal, a mean to the mean reversion, right? Going back to the mean, getting closer to that 50, right in between, not oversold, not overbought. So that's something to keep your eye on. Now, this might not be a bad short trade setup either. Let's actually go down to the lower time frames. Let's take a look. Lower time frames, we are extremely overbought on the RSI, right? Let me take a look. We're at 86. 86 on an RSI. Now, I do want to note, if we're in the parabolic phase of a bull market, and everything's just crushing it, this thing can stay overbought for quite a long time. But we're not in that stage just yet, I believe. And then what we're seeing on the 1 hour, we're seeing a potential bearish crossover. Hasn't happened yet, but it could happen. And we know that that's one level of support resistance. While that's loading, also, you're looking at every single time frame outside of the weekly, which is the longest time frame I have on this TTD, is bullish. And so I'm just waiting on the S&R levels to come up for Phantom. But I'll be looking for a crossover here. And depending on where we are price-wise, and you can see right at that 88.9 cent level as well, we have confluence on the 1, 2 hour and on the daily for Phantom. So if we get that crossover on the signal line on our MACD, you can already see we're losing momentum here, right? We're going from solid green to light green. We'll see if we're at the same place or we come back to retest and we get this crossover, I will be entering into a short position on Phantom. Again, looking, and with this one, going back to the daily, I will be putting my stop loss, or excuse me, my take profit, because it's short. I'll throw the fibs back on. I will be putting my take profit at 78.1. I'll do partial there. I'll do the other partial at 70.99. So should be pretty good money. Probably some like 8 to 12x leverage. Again, that is something that I will be keeping my eye on. I'm not ready to pull this now. Do want to wait for some more confirmation, but that's why you watch the show. That's why you're in the Discord. That is where, if we're not live on YouTube, then that's where you'll find that info. All right, that's Phantom. Take a quick break because my mouth is dry. I want to know, what's the biggest trade you guys have ever made? ROI-wise, what's the biggest trade you've ever made? Mine was like a $2,800 trade. I think I longed Bitcoin at like 28.6 or something, or I don't know. And it was pretty high leverage too. And so that was my biggest trade I've ever done personally. So I'm curious to know what your guys' biggest trade was, ROI-wise or money-wise, if you feel comfortable sharing that. And then another one, Virtual's Protocol. I am just as bullish on this project when it was at $5 as I am on $1. Right? What do we talk about all the time? Nothing fundamentally has changed. Your thesis hasn't changed. There is no reason to be bearish, right? Unless the overall narrative has changed, sure. But I'm pretty sure you guys can agree watching, AI ain't going nowhere. AI is not going anywhere. I mean, it's going somewhere. It's going up. It's going to, gain value. It's going to see a lot of different companies, countries pour insane amounts of money into this sector because guess what? It's like the new nuclear arm race. Whoever gets the best AI, they're going to be in a very well position, in a good position. All right. Got 100 people up in here. What's up, guys? Make sure you hit the like button. Also, shout out to the mods. We got Max, Ding Dong Daddy, and I think there was another mod in here. Nope, that's it for the mods as far as I see. Adam Bates said Caspa's hash rate dropped off a bunch. I am not too technically familiar with Caspa, and correct me here. I don't claim to know everything, but we know with Bitcoin, with the difficulty adjustment, hash rate drops, difficulty goes down, and people plug their miners back in. Does Caspa have something similar? So let me know. Max said, do you have a favorite news source to read the latest updates versus the mainstream media and X.com? You know what, man? Max, there's really, I mean, you can't really point to, there's places like Ground News, right? Where it'll show you if it's from a left-leaning publication, a right-leaning, central. There's also VTnews.ai, which was created by Patrick Bet-David and his company, Valuetainment. That's a pretty neat one. God, what am I doing? That's a pretty cool one. And then I just like, and I understand, like, my platform is, no matter how many times you tell people, that's not financial advice and don't listen to what YouTubers say, even myself included. We're just here to give you the information and give our opinions. People still listen. So, and I keep that in mind. And so anytime I find a project or a news article, I always cross-reference multiple places. I'll dig in before I share that with the community. Now, of course, you're not gonna bat 1,000. I've had some L's, I've had some misses, but we're able to rectify those. So I guess, Max, not a single place, but something I maybe cross-reference multiple places, or do have some connections in the space where I can just directly reach out. Like if it's about a project, I don't know, ICP, I'll just reach out to Kyle and be like, hey, is this true? What's going on? Can you give me some more, info on this before I share it with the audience? So yeah. Raul said, hola roaches. Yeah, that was funny. Daniel Kaufman said, please do Avalanche. Daniel, your wish is my command, my friend. Your wish is my command. Now, charts aside, I am a big Avalanche bull, right? You're not going to sit here and tell me that a project that's been around for a while, it's got an amazing team, it's got amazing utility, it's already being used, is not going to have a massive bull market, especially what we have seen with the markets currently. And I believe the whole flight to quality narrative is true. And there's few projects that have the quality that Avalanche does on top of multiple narratives that are going to help it, including RWA, including gaming, including governments, including, you name it, Avalanche has it. So let's take a look. So bearish on everything except the 1 hour and the 4 hour. Let's see, we are, what do we have here? Resistance at our MA level, okay. So this is our 200-day MA moving average. And so you can see how price reacts. I mean, we've come across resistance here on that. But I mean, there's a lot of gaps in this Avalanche chart, right? Let's throw on our cloud. Okay. So the 1 hour time frame, we're still bullish, right? You have some confluence here on the 1 hour and the bottom end of our cloud off by a buck or two, right? And then if you go out to the 4 hour, a little bit higher time frame, can argue another bear flag, right? Caught resistance right at the bottom end of our cloud. Now on the 4 hour, on the higher time frames, 4 hour, the trend is red, 6 hour, red, 8, red, 12, red, and everything else is going to be red. But the shorter time frames, it looks like, at least for the time being, let's check the 2 hour. So the 2 hour, we had a breakout above and then just got rejected and came right back down. Now this is the Ichimoku cloud is a indicator that's been around for a very long time. And this, when you're in the cloud, when you're in the shaded area, doesn't matter what color it is, this is the no trade zone. They call it the equilibrium zone, right? And so you don't want to place any trades here. You want to see how price reacts. You want to long the bottom here, 24 bucks, and you want to short the top until you see something different, until you see volume. Maybe look at your RSI, your MACD. Take a look at the higher time frame, seeing what's happening there. But as of right now, I would expect Avalanche to find immediate support at 24.64. And then if we fall through that, you're looking at around $24 even. But again, unless you're day trading or swing trading, to me, AVAX is a project you stick in your third bucket, which is your set it and forget it bucket, your diamond hand bucket. I'm not worried about it for another 4 years, bucket. Throw Avalanche in there. Don't stress, my friend. Go enjoy a pina colada at the beach or whatever you like to drink. And so that would be my advice to you, Daniel. I know you got a lot of your money, if not all of your money, correct me if I'm wrong, in Avalanche. Not something I would do personally, but that's okay. Everyone's got their own thing. It's your money. You made it. You spend it however you want it. But you got nothing to be worried about, man. Unless you're like, you borrowed on it and you're getting margin called, then okay, where's your where's your margin call? What price are you getting margin called at? But if you're just a spot buyer and you're holding, dude, you got nothing to worry about, bro. Even if you bought at $40, you got nothing to worry about. $30, you got nothing. At the very least, it'll get back to its last all-time high. You bought it at $30 at 5x. Nothing wrong with a 5x in 2 years, in a year, whatever that number is. We've gotten so spoiled in crypto, we get a 2x. Like, oh my God, that's it. You guys understand that the stock market, when it gains 15% in a year, everyone's up in arms and, oh my God, this is the craziest market we've ever seen, dude. Holy moly, dude. We see like 2x's in 3 months, in a month, in a week. And we're not happy. So if that's the thing, now that I said that, we talk about Wall Street's coming and Wall Street's here and they got so much money. I'll put it to you this way. If Wall Street buys in Avalanche at $22 and it goes up to 28, they're selling it. They're taking that 40% gain, that 50% gain. Because that's a big win. We're sitting here and we're saying, no, I want to wait for that 2x. I want to wait for that 400%, that 300%. These guys are like, we put in 100K, cashed out 150, done. Cool. Easy money. What's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? So keep things in perspective. That's what I always like to say. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the coin market cap and I'll go over some inflows. And you know what, actually, I'll kind of run through this real quick and then we'll jump into the money flows. I've already went over this. Jump into the money flows. So Virtual Protocol again up 16.3%. Celestia, this thing ran up to $22. I'm not sure about this one, but that's up 17%. Move and then Pith and Near Protocol up 8%. And then the biggest losers of the day, BitGet token, Monero. Interesting. I'm going to ask Forrest about this tomorrow. He said, what did Forrest say? Let's go look at his X handle. Forrest, we're creeping on your X page, my friend. So he said something about this one. Where was it? He was pretty much talking about, maybe it was this and he edited it. I don't know. Either way, he was saying, look, XMR to 1,000, right? So he pretty much said, if the SEC, if they start bagging people for this, privacy coins are going to go through the roof, and XMR is one of them. Another one that I like to note, what the hell is the name? It's on Solana. Actually, Dark Protocol, okay? If you believe in Forrest's thesis, which I'm not saying I do, and I'm not saying you should, but he's a very smart man. He does his research. If you believe in his thesis, you got XMR, you got Dark Protocol on Solana, and I'm sure you have a few other ones on other L1s. But that's something that's interesting to keep an eye on, right? As people that don't want to be scrutinized, so they start using privacy coins. And I don't know what capacity, I don't know, but just something interesting. I just wanted to share from our friend Forrest. And then some of the other biggest losers here, you got Flare down, Aptos down, OKB, XRP down 1%, but pretty low on the big losers of the day. Let's take a look at the inflows here. This is on the 1 hour interval. Your biggest inflow gainer looks like it's Solana with around $3.8 million, majority of that coming from stable coins. Number 2 looks like it's ETH with almost everything, 1.9 out of 2 million coming from BTC. Tron's getting some inflows, Apex, and then stable coins. You have Litecoin in there. BTC is getting some from the Japanese markets. And then the outflows, your largest outflow is going to be XRP, seeing $8 million worth of outflows in the last 1 hour, mostly going to stables and fiat. right? The US dollar, the Korean won, and then USDT, USDC, and a little bit going to BTC. You have another 4 million flowing out of Ethereum. Again, all going into stables or fiat. And then you see the other ones on the left. You see IP, people taking profit. And what are they doing with the profit? They're selling it for dollars and, well, Korean won. So I always have to keep an eye on this. And you can go here. The website is cryptometer.io. What's up, bro? You need toilet paper? Okay. That's my little guy. He's probably waiting for me to play Fortnite with him. And then you can go, so cryptometer.io, it's the volume flow. You can go here. You do need, I think, at least a pro subscription to get the multiple intervals. You see the P here, but you can go look at the day, right? I don't know, we're on the hour. You can look at the day, see how money was flowing during the day. You can look at the week, you can look at the 3-day. So it gives you an idea. And honestly, you know, when I put my thesis for BNB together, this is one thing I used on multiple time frames, something I tracked over a period of time. You start seeing trends emerge, right? Because not everyone is on chain or using resources, using their time, trying to find where money's going. People just read headlines and then they make a trade based off of that. But by that time, it's too late. Because why? The people that are putting the time and the research in, they've already entered into those positions. So now you become their exit liquidity. Which is why we always say it's important to always pay attention to the markets and watch shows like Sin City Crypto. All right, take a look at some outflow, or not outflow, some unlocks. Okay, IMX had an what is this? 24 million token unlock, which is 1.4% of the market cap. Not too big. If you go down here, Athena has a 3% unlock. This is one I've been bullish on. Let's take a look at where this is. Now, this price has taken an absolute beating. You can go down here. This is cryptorank.io. You can see, oh, wow, they have 2 per day or 2 per month. 2 unlocks per month. Okay. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the upcoming. I thought this showed the upcoming. I want to know upcoming, past because it already happened. February 1st. Okay. We had around 1.2% went to their ecosystem initiatives and another 1.8 went to the foundation. We can assume the foundation is selling their tokens. Now we go to an ENA chart. Let's take a look at how price action has fared around times of token unlocks. It's another thing. You know, I was able to hit 2 really big sweet trades and one really big Aptos trade based off of unlocks and going back and looking at how prices have reacted prior to, during, and after big token unlocks. So here's ENA. Let's go to the daily. This is an ugly chart right here, right? Ugly chart. Might have a little more downside to go, right? I would be a big bidder here at 31 cents. If it gets that low, it might not get that low, right? This might be at the lowest it's been, but Athena's got a lot going for it, right? It's got the big names behind it on the institutional side, including BlackRock. It's institutional stablecoin yield. And you saw, we shared on the live show this morning, the SEC passed the first ever yield-bearing securities instrument being a stablecoin. And so that's something interesting. But let's take a look at the unlocks. Let's look at the past unlocks, okay? So let's go to January 1st. We had another 3% market cap unlock, okay? So let's take our SNR off. Let's go to January 1st, and I'm just going to plop a line here. So January 1st, okay. So far, based off one unlock, the trend has been up, okay? We had our unlock here, and then we had a gain of around 42%, right? This unlock happened, and this thing closed at around 95.91 cents. Let's go back even further. Let's go back to December 1st. Another 3%, okay? So let's go back. Let's move this over to December 1st. Well, one day before December 1st. Oh, and look at the trend here, my friends. We saw a little bit of downside price action, around 14%. And then price rallied, right? Price rallied another 44%. Now, the sentiment of the market has changed, and this goes back to what I have been saying for a very long time. Unlocks don't really matter in a raging bull market because no one gives a shit. No one's paying attention to them, right? And it has less of an impact because there's more buyers on the other side, right? There's more bids coming in versus the asks that are flooding the market, right? Selling versus buying. It's pretty common. I mean, pretty common sense. So, what are we seeing now, right? We had the unlock today, and why are they being so aggressive, right? Now you're going to 2 a day. You go to upcoming or 2 a month. March 1st, March 4th. Wait, what? Unlock of 2 billion, 65% of their market cap? What? Okay. Holy shit. So on March 4th, 50%, more than 50% of their tokens are being unlocked? That's crazy. Can this be right? Oh, 14%. My God. I'm like, dude, that's so 65% of their market cap. Okay, I was gonna say, dude. Okay, so but that's still a huge number. 14% of their supply is unlocked in 1 day. And they're all going to investors, right? Investors and core contributors. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that the price is going to tank by that amount. But that's a big one, man. My recommendation to you, my friends, is stay away from Athena for whether it's spot or whether it's trading, because this is a huge number. 14% is a massive number. That's not the only one that month. You have add another, so you're at 14% for the month. 70% of the market cap value in terms of value is being unlocked in 1 month. That's insane. That is insane. Let's go here. And oh yeah, because that is the first of the unlocks. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. Why do they do that? 50% of the tokens. Anyways, we'll see what the price does. You know what? Now that I look at it, let's take a look at where these investors, what price they got in at. Okay, so let's go back to their seed funding. They raised $6.5 million. Where is the token? Is it going to be here? Token allocation, 100% unlock, 100% unlock, 100% unlock. And these ones don't have that info. Okay. Usually what it'll do is it'll tell you at what price per token they got they got their fundraising at. So this one doesn't show it, but it's interesting. They raised a lot of money, man. 14 mil, 6.5 mil, and these are undisclosed, right? 300,000 tokens, 10,000 tokens, 3.7 million or 300 million tokens, excuse me, 3.7 million tokens. At what price though? What price per token? Interesting. So that's free. Yeah, guys, I would stay away from this one, man. I'm actually reevaluate this one. I'm gonna reevaluate this one because I got a decent position on Athena. I got most of it I bought at 70 cents, so I'm pretty underwater on it. So I'm gonna sit down and this what I recommend you guys do, which is what I do myself, right? You can't recommend something if you're not gonna do it. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna evaluate, I'm gonna look more in depth on these token unlocks, and I'm gonna try to figure out what were the conditions and who were behind it and what have they done so I'm gonna do some in-depth research, and I'll actually share that with the Patreon members. I'll do a nice write-up on this thing. But this might be something that I'm going to wait for a pump or potentially cut some of my position now, and potentially not add back, but potentially cut the rest or whatever amount I decide to when we see another pump, because I do think we're going to see another pump in the price. So, all right. That'll do it for the show today, guys. Thank you all so much. Patreon link not working. Huh. Let me double check that before I hop off here. Let's go copy here, paste. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Irish Red. Let me hook you up here, my friend. Let me fix this for you. Also, guys, if you're new here, make sure you're sub to the channel. Man, oh, by the way, before I hop off, we had as a channel, as a company, we had a really big day today. Really, really big day. And you guys will find out exactly what I mean. You'll find out exactly what I mean in about 2.5 weeks. So super excited, man. It's just, it's something that when you look back, or, you know, you get in the grind of doing things and working day in and day out and staying consistent. And you just, sometimes you don't see the progress and you sit there and you're like, am I doing something wrong? Do I suck at this? And then stuff like today happens, and it really, really kind of solidifies like, okay, you've been on the right track. Your hard work's paying off. So super excited, man. I can't wait for you guys to see. And there you go, Irish Red. Sorry about that. I fixed that Patreon link. Feel free to join. We do alpha in there, TA. We're also want to make a community out of it versus just a signals and indicators and this. We want people to feel like they're part of a community. So yeah, dope pictures on the wall. I got my boy Caspa, my other boy Cardano. I had an ETH one, or actually I should order an ETH one. So Rob, Rob can watch my show and love it. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you. And come back tomorrow for the morning live show at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, guys. Peace.